mysteries of creation are there. In the sky. Up in the sky. The moon and the planets are there. And new hopes for knowledge and peace are there.
Hello, viewers. This is James Moran. I'm an archetypal astrologer, and this is your inner journey weather forecast. So we use archetypal astrology to understand the energies in the collective and how they might inform your inner journeys this week and how you might best navigate them in your inner journeys this week. Inner journeys, vision quests, depth psychotherapy, breathwork workshops, psychedelic experiences, meditation intensives, yoga retreats. All right, so we're here for the week of April 4th through April 11th, 2021. And let's have a look now at the transiting planets, which is what reflects the qualities in the collective and how they inform your inner journeys this week. So main one coming in this week that is peaking towards the end of the week, Mars square Neptune. And Mars square Neptune is a very interesting transit for inner journeys because it is the transit of the brave diving into the spiritual experience. And why is that? Because Mars is the archetype of forceful action. Mars is the archetype of wherever Mars goes, that's where our motivation goes, and whatever aspect alignment Mars is in, sign it's in, house it's in, it reflects the style of our motivation, the mood of our motivation, the quality of our motivation, the quality of our impulses, of our drives. Mars is shaped like an arrow. This is the archetype this is the glyph of Mars right here, shaped like an arrow, drives through obstacles. And so Neptune, this is the glyph for Neptune right here. So Neptune is I'll give you a little summary right here. Neptune is the archetype of infinite expanses. Neptune was the god of the ocean, Greco-Roman mythology, just as Mars was the god of war. So Mars is not just war, Mars is also bravery. Mars is action. Mars is forceful action and agency and athleticism and competition. That's Mars. So Neptune is not just ocean. Neptune was the god of the ocean. Neptune is associated with all infinite expanses, the dream realm, the realm of the imagination, the collective unconscious, the sky, heaven, spirit realm. Realms that are not bound by time and space. They dissolve out, they're infinite. Neptune. So Neptune by nature is linked up with inner journeys because oftentimes an impulse in going on a meditation retreat or diving into a psychedelic experience or into a holotropic breathwork experience is to connect with a part of ourselves that is transcendent of time and space, of the limitations of the body, the physical limitations of the body and the physical limitations of this present moment. And so holotropic states, non-ordinary states, spiritual experiences can open us up to the transpersonal realm. And the transpersonal realm is very much associated with Neptune because it allows us to transcend limitations of time and space, which are more Saturnian. So limitations of time and space in the transpersonal realm, when we transcend them, it might show up as ability to experience past lives, material from past lives, or experience material from our birth, experience material from our childhood, and experience it in a very visceral, real way, as if the material is present with us here in the present, even though the present moment is not the past. So also have experiences of the presences of somebody, maybe a loved one who passed away, feel their presence. We're transcending time and space. We're able to get in touch with a texture of an aspect of reality that is not limited by time and space. So when Mars and Neptune get together in alignment, in a tense alignment like a square, it can catalyze our bravery to dive into the transpersonal realm, dive into the realm of the well of images, of the imagination, of the collective unconscious, of inner journeys, So it can be very fruitful for our inner journeys this week. And it goes through the weekend, strong over the weekend. So sometimes we even feel called during that time. We feel our bravery gets drummed up and we feel called to dive into some type of experience that is transcendent, seeking of something sublime, something rapturous, something that is of a nature more sublime or more nuanced and subtle than the nature of time and space and separation that we perceive outright with the senses. So Mars, Neptune, that combination, very much active this week. Again, a great combination to remember. I talked about it a little bit last week. Terence McKenna had it by soft aspect, but he's a great example of the brave one who dives into the spiritual experience. Morihei Ueshiba, also talked about him last week, the founder of Aikido, how he took the martial aspect, which is the martial art, and made it into a spiritual practice, made it something that's flowing and watery. You know, when people come at him, he was a little old man, and he would hardly touch them and they would go flying, because he would just direct their own force against them in a very kind of watery way. And that's the Neptune, the water, the ability to be non-linear. And so Mars, Neptune, important combination. One of the ways that can challenge us is if our Mars energy is not directed in a spiritual way, or is not including the Neptunian realm, is not including the subtle realm, the realm of subtle senses, the realm of subtle experiences, the realm of intuitive spiritual connection. If we're not including that in our lives, then our Mars energy, which is our get up and go, our pep and our step, can feel washed out. It can feel washed out. It can feel like my colleague Ren Butler says, it's like camping in the rain and you can't get the fire started. It just feels like the flame of motivation just gets rained on, gets washed out by that Neptunian water aspect. So if we feel that way, then we know it's time for us to step back a little bit and get in touch with a different motivational quality, a different way of motivation, the motivation of the spirit. And that's what this time is about. That's what Mars Neptune time is about. So keep that in mind, and may it bode well for you. May it bear wonderful fruit for you. Another combination that's rising this week is Venus-Pluto alignment. And that's just starting this week. It will actually peak next week, but we'll touch upon it here. Venus square Pluto. And you can read about the transit qualities here. So you can see it just starts this week and it's climbing into the beginning of next week. Transit qualities here. So this one, Venus square Pluto, is also transpersonal, but transpersonal in a very different way, because Venus is associated with the heart, is associated with love, is associated with pleasure, is associated with what we value. And as such, it's a wonderful archetype. I mean, it's the archetype that attracts us to things, to people, to that which we value, attracts valuable things to us. Pluto adds the transpersonal element, because Pluto is also transpersonal, but in a different way than Neptune. Neptune's transpersonal quality is transcendent, the dissolving out into the infinite, the being able to get in touch with the infinite unitive experience beyond barriers, beyond the experience of being a separate being. Pluto is the transpersonal fire, the alchemical fire that transmutes something and brings out the kind of spiritual essence of something. And so when it's there with Venus, its action is more yang, I feel, than Neptune. Neptune's action is very yin. That's why we were saying that if you're all geared up and martial this week, you got a lot of Mars energy, you might feel like you're getting washed out, because this yin energy, it's a time to do yin yoga. It's a time to have our actions be more yin, more watery, more flowy, more subtle. Pluto is a more yang energy. It wants to transform through fire. And as such, that the alchemical fire burns out the dross. It makes the impurities come to the surface and come out. And so when Venus is with Pluto, it wants to burn the impurities up and out of whatever it's aligned with. So Venus would be love, what we value. and what gives us pleasure. And so there we could see, like with loved ones, things start to come out, like what gives us value, gives us pleasure, the love, the relationship, possession, jealousy, this dross, this impurities come up. And Pluto wants to bring things to the surface. It's like the function in the human body of a boil, to bring an infection to the surface so that it can get the pus out, get the garbage out. And so we may have powerful experiences of wrestling with that which we value and that which we love. You know, we wrestle with feeling like it's taking over us. We value it so much, it takes away our willpower, but then we actually wrestle with that some more and get pulled into the underworld by Pluto and get transformed by it, in the sense of the love. You know, for instance, if it's with a person in a relationship, we might get into a tossing and a turning. You know, I love you more, this possession, this thing, or they exhibit some possessiveness, or some challenging quality rears its head, which is not attractive. Ultimately, though, the whole thing is to get into a deeper connection with love. Say, I can love you even though you show this unattractive side. It wants to do away with superficial love. It wants to do away with superficial values. It wants to get in touch with the real spiritual gold of life, that thing that's really worth something, really valuable. Venus, Pluto, and a good example that I have this little summary here on my website. Venus, Pluto draws together the beauty, love, art, and pleasure of Venus with the depths, instinctual power, obsessive drive, and hidden mystery of Pluto. And I give the example here of Julia Roberts, which I feel is an appropriate example. The combining of Venusian themes of love and money with Platonic themes of taboos, drama, and transformation is witnessed in the chart and career of actress Julia Roberts. So her movies include titles like Sleeping with the Enemy, I Love Trouble, Runaway Bride, Money Monster. I mean, these are all clearly Venus-Pluto titles. Sleeping with the Enemy, the love, but it's taboo, it's dark, it's got that Plutonian thing in there. You know, the love, but also the flip side of it. Pluto's showing the challenging, darker, shadowy side of Venus. I Love Trouble. I love trouble. You know, love, Venus, trouble, the drama, that shadowy tossing and turning of Pluto. Runaway Bride, again, it's totally Venus, Pluto. Money Monster, I mean, you can hardly come up with a title more Venus, Pluto than that in terms of value, that which we value, money. The monster, Pluto's the monster. Pluto's the god of the underworld. Okay, so Pretty Woman, great example of Venus, Pluto, because Venus, Pluto, because in Pretty Woman, she plays a prostitute. So that's a very Venus-Pluto combination there. This taking Venus down into the depths of Pluto, the taboo, where the value is exchanged, money is exchanged for sex. It's kind of this taboo exchange of value. But through love, she becomes transformed when she meets Richard Gere, Pretty Woman. And then it shows up Pretty Woman. That's the transformation that she, you know, the Venus gets transformed through that underworld journey into the underworld, comes out the other side of transformed into the Pretty Woman who is in love and transformed by love. Best example perhaps is Eat, Pray, Love, because it's through love that she plays an author, she portrays an author who goes on this journey of pleasure, eating, Venusian pleasure, praying, kind of spiritual pleasure, and love, and then she gets transformed in the end by love. So that's very Venus, Pluto. So that's the transits for this week. I'm going to be teaching a 6-week course called Astrological Maps for Inner Journeys, in which you can learn to look at all the transits coming up, and you can learn to experience the dance between your own inner journeys and the energies that you encounter, and seeing how they're reflected in the astrological alignments. So astrological maps for inner journeys, planning and understanding our inner journeys using archetypal astrology. It gives us an opportunity to plan our inner journeys using archetypal astrology. It gives an opportunity to understand our inner journeys using archetypal astrology. Imagine if there was an inner journey that you engaged in this week, towards the weekend, and the Mars Neptune energy came in, you just felt called towards this spiritual brave quest. And then you experience this Venus, Pluto, the love, all these powerful feelings coming up, and you're wondering what's going on, and you go along with the ride and you surrender to it and you get transformed. So there's also an aspect with archetypal astrology of looking back. If you didn't know these transits beforehand, you can look back and you can see the transits and you can understand, like, wow, what was that? You know, what was that I experienced at that time? And then you see the transits, and it helps you understand and integrate what the experience was, because you see the archetypes. And so it's very helpful and illuminating. And then also what it does is it helps us celebrate that, wow, my own interior, intimate experience of deep spiritual significance and transformation is linked up, is lined up, is aligned with the movement of the cosmos itself. And that's something worth celebrating, looking at again and again, being in awe over, and really using as to access a non-dual experience of life. That, wow, the heavens themselves, the universe itself moves in sync with my inner space. The outer space and the inner space move in sync together. And then once you get there, you get to open up just a treasure of riches of insights, and life becomes, the texture of life itself becomes so beautiful. We can look at these transits in all ways. You know, it doesn't just have to be inner journeys. We can, you know, if we have a presentation to give, we have a trip coming up, we can look at our transits before, and we can look at it afterhand to appreciate how the archetype showed up, how the gods and goddesses showed up, how reality is constructed and how it unfolds, and just marvel. Life can become a real celebration. So I invite you to join me on a 6-week journey, 6-week adventure, my 6-week course, Astrological Maps for Inner Journeys. And there'll be a link, be a summary below and a link below. And I look forward to meeting you there. It's going to be absolutely celebratory experience of existence. I'm here at a new house. This is my new house I just moved into. So that's why I'm here in a window well without any furniture, and everything's being unpacked. So thanks for being with me here today. And may you have a wonderful week and very fruitful inner journeys. Thanks.